morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Formula 7 Racing, and we are here today for Tier 4's Round 9 double-header event here at Silverstone. First, we qualify, 18 minutes of qualifying, followed by a 25% race. And that is not all the racing action tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It is then into another 18-minute qualifying before another 25% race around Silverstone, but backwards. My name is Jack. I'm your commentator. A pleasure to be with you today in a very sunny-looking Silverstone. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Jorn. Welcome, Jorn. How are you doing?
Hello everyone, how are we all? I hope we're having a fantastic day and I hope we're ready for some great racing and in qualifying in Tier 4 today.
Honestly, I'm very excited. It's my first time here in F7. There's a lot of drivers that I don't know. I think I may know one or two guys from previous leagues, but definitely a new experience for me. And honestly, really looking forward to this one. We've got an awesome format, the double-header format, two 25% races, both at Silverstone, one backwards, one forwards. Honestly, this is a concoction for a brilliant weekend. Now, Jorn, obviously, you're more experienced in this league. You may know some of the drivers, previous race winners and whatnot. What can we expect from today's race? Is there anyone that we're really putting towards the top? We expect to maybe be taking pole position in this session? Or is it just a complete and utter fry-up?
So today we expect to be keeping an eye on Slow P Gamer and a Giant Stick. They've shown absolute mental pace throughout the last few Grand Prix we had. Obviously, when I commentated in Italy and Saudi Arabia, it got very interesting at the end of the Grand Prix in Saudi Arabia with Giant Stick thought, I'll do a pit stop because he had an early safety car and he was cutting through the grid like it was butter with a warm knife. Then in Italy, had a bit of an incident at the start. He was then fighting with Slow P Gamer the entire race near enough to try and catch him, which then Slow P Gamer got a penalty, which then he overtook him before the finish line to then take P1 on track. So we're going to be expecting a lot of action in Tier 4 today.
Seems like there's been great action up and down the field all season long in Silverstone, one of the most iconic Formula 1 circuits on the calendar since the inaugural season of Formula 1. One of easily the best racing tracks in the entire world. So these Formula 7 drivers here in Tier 4 this afternoon definitely looking to try and add some history to what is such an illustrious circuit. We're following Jenith, who's out on track at the minute, the first car to take to the Silverstone circuit, and the Haas livery looking absolutely gorgeous as they weave their way down the Wellington Straight, warming up those soft compound Pirellis before they make their way onto their lap. As through Stowe Corner they come then. Multiple drivers out on track now. We've basically got the full grid out on track at the minute. Traffic definitely can be an issue in qualifying, but Silverstone, definitely the wall's not too close, so quite easy to get out the way and let people through perfectly. But Jenith now makes their way onto their first flying lap. 7th gear, no lifting at all through turn 1. And it is just gorgeous to watch Formula 1 cars take to this circuit. As we now make our way through the first sector with the Haas car, we'll ride on board as we get to the first of 2, I believe, DRS zones on this track. Obviously, DRS won't be with us next year from F126. So definitely interesting to see how they try and get the active aero and the battery boost in the game. The DRS working well for Jenith so far as they make their way through Luffield now and begin their climb towards the infamous Copse Corner. Now, Jorn, there's not many corners that are iconic as Copse. If we see a couple of cars going wheel to wheel into there today, surely that's a recipe for disaster.
We might see a bit of gravel fly up in the air as Jennifer heads through Maggots and into Beckett's now, gets it nice and straight. We might see a bit of collisions maybe if we see drivers going side by side there. Sometimes we see drivers try and make it 3 wide. It doesn't work out, but these Formula 7 drivers are talented and they know how to make space work with one another. So I reckon it was very good racing through Copse.
100%. There are just certain corners that, you know, they might go 2 wide, 3 wide, sometimes even 4 wide. And you know going into it, they're not going to come out of it, A, in that order, or B, unscathed. So definitely going to be very interesting to watch. Jenith completes their first lap and goes up to the top of the timesheets. Obviously, they're the first driver to set a lap with a 1 minute 26.9. Nimble Cat then slots into P2 with a 1 minute 27.9. Max Scavenger for Red Bull, a 1:26.9 just a few milliseconds ahead of Jeneth. We've then got the Mercedes-Benz of Honda into P5 with a 1:29.8. Vicious Vicar goes into P3 with a 27.8. And you can see already how close the times are at the top of the field. And we've still not even had half of the grid set laps yet. So already qualifying looking very, very competitive. And that is only going to pan out for an even better race.
Of course, yes. Silverstone's a great track for racing. We've got a Red Bull there on the grass as we go on board with Doug Elton, who goes into the pits to finish a lap. Real Ashton Army beginning a lap, so we'll go on board with him. I think he might have validated his last lap. So through turn 1 we go. No lifting, takes it in gear 8 there with 40% battery. A little bit on the battery to burn up a bit. Goes a little bit wide on the exit of turn 3 there. Into turn 4, it's a really tight corner, as you would know there, Jack, just to try and grab the apex there.
It's definitely very difficult, and there are a lot of corners around this Silverstone circuit that almost feel like they're never going to end. The two coming up being two of them, Brooklands, then into Luffield. You constantly feel like the car's turning in and you're just waiting for the front end to grip up so you can fully get on the power. It's so tedious. These Formula One cars just begging to be pushed at the limit of their speed, and those corners really making you lose your patience as you turn in through Copse. Little bit of a lift off for the Ferrari as he makes his way now towards Maggots and Beckett's, one of the most iconic racing complexes of corners in the entire calendar that we have of Formula One. Lifting, little bit of braking into the last sequence there, and now you get the DRS open down the Wellington Straight and towards Stowe you go. A great overtaking opportunity in the race is Stowe Corner as you then make your way towards the Vale chicane. And I mean, we all remember that battle between Leclerc.
He's had to lift there. Sorry to cut you off, but Ashton had to lift massively. He went off track ever so slightly. He had a lot of understeer through Stowe. I think struggling with the wings he's running.
Definitely set up crucial around Silverstone. A lot of medium speed, a lot of slow speed and high speed corners. Very difficult to get the car dialed in to all of those different corner profiles. So you do normally have to sacrifice one set of corners to then gain in another. It's just down to the drivers. What do they think is going to be the biggest benefit? For me personally, around Silverstone, you've got to go with straight line speed, because there are really long straights here. You know, you look going into Stowe Corner, you've then got the Hanger Straight as well. You do need that speed to be able to make moves. We're on board with Flames at the minute, who's just coming through the Vale chicane now. And as I was saying, we all remember that battle of Hamilton, Leclerc and Perez, I believe it was, through the Vale chicane. Could we see any more moments like that this afternoon? Only time will tell.
Just a bit of information from Nathan here. He has said you sound a bit low in comparison to Yawn and the game. Would you want to turn yourself up, your volume?
I've quickly done that. Hopefully we're all good now. OBS, I'm really not experienced with it, so do bear with as we try to get all the settings down. Hopefully the racing is better than my commentary. That's what we can hope.
As we might have had a bit of an impeding there on Mad, Riot and Kevin, NRG Kevin Gamer there. Ooh, might have a potential thing or something for the stewards to look at as Doug starts his lap through turn 1, into turn 2 we go. Down now into turn 3, heavy braking zone we go. As now, again, into the left now, we're going to go, it's really tight, grab the apex, don't grab that curb. This might offset that car a bit too much, grabs the apex through turn 5 there. As now, down the DRS straight we go. Into turn 6 now. This corner is easy to go wide, and I think Doug has got a bit wide through here. Into turn 7 we go. It's Doug's able to just follow that racing line. Let the car drift over on the exit, get it straight, get the power down instantaneously. And now, through turn 8 we go. Sorry, heading into turn 9 now, sorry. Flick the wheel all the way across the curb you can. Get the apex, get the power down. And then now, heading into Maggots and Beckett's we go. One to the right, one to the left. And then another one to the right. Let the car drift over as you go on the exit. As Doug's gone wide and he's invalidated his lap.
And Doug's
lap is over and done.
That is the pain with Silverstone, isn't it? It's so easy to go over a little curb, carry too much speed into a corner, and that's already your lap over with. It's so difficult. You want to find the limit so badly. These cars practically beg you to push them to the limit. but the second you just overstep it, it's an invalidation and you're on your way back to the pits. We're on board with a giant stick, who, again, another car wide out of Cop's corner and has to abort that lap. It's so easy to make these little mistakes, but if you can perfect it, it's those little milliseconds you gain that could be the difference, realistically, between pole and 5th place. As we can see, all the drivers towards the top of the grid, 26.8, 26.9, 26.9, 27.1. It's so close between those top 4, and any little marginal gain or loss can easily gain or cost you positions.
Anything can happen here as well. The tyres. So let's have a quick tyre talk, as something we do love to do in F7, and I think Nathan knows I do love a bit of tyre talk. So, as we saw in Tier 2 and Tier 3 earlier on, we saw a lot of people go soft, medium, medium, soft. What would you say is the best bet here today?
Me personally, I always like to start on the harder compound. I'm someone that likes to race towards the end, whether that means losing a little bit of time off the start. Me personally, I've just always found that it's better to be on the softer tyres at the end, be on the quicker tyres at the end, and make your moves when you need to make them. There's a famous saying in Formula 1, you can't win a race on lap 1, but you can always lose it on lap 1. As Max Scavenger goes now to provisional pole position, just annexes his teammate by a few milliseconds, and you can see still, the times are tumbling, but they're very, very close. But back to the tyre talk. I mean, I've had my opinion, Jorn. What would you do if you were, let's say, Max Scavenger, potentially starting on pole position? What would your head be?
See, I would personally stick it to the medium soft, slow at the start, but bring it in midway. So you get them tyres in that zone where they're slow, they're not in the best zone for you, but they're in the perfect way for you to get the maximum grip and the maximum life out of the tyre. So then go into the soft compound to be faster at the end, which would then eliminate the fuel usage as well, because the car will be lighter. You get a bit more of a rear end stability. You know what I mean? You'd be able to keep the rear end more. Is within medium tyres, you would have medium grip. The soft, you'd have super high grip levels as well.
Exactly that, and it all comes down to the setup of the car as well. You know, tyre pressures. Are the tyres maybe overheating? Have you got more front wing than rear wing? Is the car more on the nose? All of these things can contribute to how do the tyres last? How quick are they going to be? Do you need
just
to
to
push
put in
early
here,
on?
Slowpoke Gamer is currently 5 tenths up on the lap, and they go 4 tenths, and they go 26.7.
Absolutely
Wow.
astonishing lap there from the Ferrari man. It was a Red Bull 1-2 pretty much all session long, but Ferrari now lead here at Silverstone, a 26.7, the first man into the 1 minute 26.7s, and he's almost into the 26.6s. An incredible lap from Slow P Gamer, and definitely the Red Bulls going to have to find some sort of reply here if they want to try and take back that front row lockout. 5 minutes and 40 seconds left of qualifying, and it's just now starting to heat up.
It's going to be very interesting here. Slowpoke Gamer might have offset maybe the Red Bulls here. So I think the Red Bulls, I believe they're going out on a third set of tyres, right? I believe they've had three runs, sorry.
It definitely would seem so, which obviously then you would imagine will compromise them for the race. But maybe they're running a bit more straight line speed. They believe if they can get pole position, get the front row lockout, they can work together, maybe keep each other in that DRS, drag each other along. There's so much strategy that we don't see in these league races. Teammates talking to each other, keeping people in DRS. You look back to Carlos Sainz winning in Singapore, intentionally having Lando Norris in his DRS to be able to hold off from the Mercedes duo. There could always be games like that played in these league races. It's just those parts that we don't see, but we see transpire throughout the race, and those are the moments that you watch live sporting action for.
Obviously, we've got the qualifying results for Tier 3 here, I do. So, Dave Devs, who's also in the chat, so hello, Dave. Dave Devs set at 26.4. Currently, the provisional pole position, as we, Jenith there, just a bit up on their time, sorry, might add. They are 3 tenths away here. So, these Tier 4 drivers are able to match with the Tier 3 drivers, but the differential offset that we have with these tiers is obviously the amount of race pace and how the consistency they have. But at the moment, Jennifer is getting a bit of nice toe, but also maybe a bit of a downgrade of a bit of dirty air here. From who is that? That is the V-carb of Flames here. They're both on a lap, sorry. Flames and Jennifer are both on a lap.
Definitely not ideal for the Haas of Jenith, and you can see coming into the pits to abort that lap, if there's one place you do not want dirty air around this circuit, it is through Maggots and Beckett's, and that's exactly what he had to put up with. And that is the thing, with 18 drivers on the track, it's really important that you pick your time to come out the garage, manage the gap to the car ahead, because if you are miles quicker, let's say, and you do catch up to a car on your lap that is also on a lap, they've got no obligation to get out the way for you, and that dirty air harms you so much. The dirty air on F125 is so powerful, and the second you're in it, the car understeers, the rears start to give up on you, and you slide around, especially through such a high-speed complex like Maggots and Beckett's. That is never something that you want to have to be dealing with.
The V-carb, sorry, of Gert Meitzer has invalidated his lap on the exit of turn 3. Oh, very close with the kick Sauber of Mad Riot there. As he's in on to recharge the battery. I think he finished his lap. As you look around here, and obviously, no, it's very close between everyone, as you see. But I feel as if we might see maybe Shining Swarm, we don't see often, maybe come out of nowhere, pull a, let's say what, 2025? Not 25, 2027? Oh, never mind.
Shining Swarm, currently P15. Definitely not where you'd want to be in a Mercedes-Benz, let's put it that way. But this is equal performance. It is going to be a lot more difficult to, let's say, match the expectations of a Mercedes-Benz or a Ferrari or a Red Bull. Although, as I say that, Slow P Gamer, Max Scavenger and a Giant Stick, in those top 3 cars, doing exactly what you would expect Laurent Mekies and Fred Vasseur would be asking of them.
Yeah, honestly, they'd obviously be wanting maximum pace and performance on the car, which these drivers can give. It's just, can they get the strategies right for the start and the finish?
Exactly that. Qualifying is one thing, but the race is where you score points. This is just to set the grid, and if the times are this close in qualifying, we can only imagine how close these cars are going to be wheel to wheel when we are racing. Mere minutes left of this qualifying session. We can see Max Scavenger taking off the road there to let the Kick Sauber car go through. That's Vicious Vicar, I do believe, who's just making his way through Stowe Corner. We've got both Red Bulls out on track so far. We've got the Ferrari out on an outlap. These are the critical times for qualifying.
As Max cuts the pit lane there and goes into... Sorry about that, everyone. As a Giant Stick gets a little bit of a toe from the car ahead, heading in now to the final chicane. Through club we go. Can he get the rotation? Has he got the downforce to get it? Can he take provisional pole? He goes P2.
He's just 36 milliseconds off of pole position, and that's showing you how close this grid is. Jenith, I believe, is just going on to his final lap. So is there an opportunity for Haas to maybe take pole position? Slow P Gamer, he's just setting up his lap through the Vale chicane now. Is he able to extend on his time? We've still got Wobbly Lizard, Ace Drift, Alfie Edwards, Gert Meitzer, and Ace Claret all yet to set their final laps as well, but we are on board with this man, the Ferrari, Slow P Gamer. That's qualifying done, ladies and gentlemen. Gert Meitzer gets up to 10th place, but the Ferrari, Slow P Gamer, is he able to extend his time? A little bit of wheel spin on the exit there as he makes his way onto the next straight. It's looking good for him, it's looking hopeful, but this lap really still does matter.
It does. It's going to show dividends here from Slowpoke Gamer. The contender at the moment, he's already got purple sector 1, but at the moment I'm looking at Ace Claret. As Ace Claret is now going about to cross the line next. As through club goes Ace Claret, who's in P17. Will they improve enough? They go P17. They invalidated their lap. As Alfie Wards is not next across the line. As you know, a Giant Stick boxes as well. So that means now Alfie Wards is the next across the line in the Haas. as we now go through Stowe. Off track they go. They keep it valid somehow. As away they go now. It grabs the apex nicely. Goes a little bit wide there on exit. Burns the battery all the way down now. Across the line they go. P10. But now it's time for Slowpoke Gamer. Through Club Poke Gamer goes to go. Provisional pole with a 26.4.
Incredible lap from the Ferrari, and that is qualifying over, ladies and gentlemen. It is Slow P Gamer on pole position for Ferrari in Silverstone, a 26.4, a blitzing lap time. The Red Bulls struggled in the latter part of qualifying. A Giant Stick managed to get ahead of his teammate, Max Scavenger, I don't believe got a final lap in. Not sure what happened down at Red Bull with him, but that is your qualifying over, ladies and gentlemen. Ferrari on pole in Silverstone, and what a lap from Slow P Gamer it was to take it.
It was an unbelievable lap. He put a lot of effort into that. He was just able to sling that car, have maximum grip and rotation with it.
Definitely dialed in setup wise, run plan time, but can that translate to the race? That is the big question. That is where you score the points. He will start from the front of field. It's a Giant Stick that accompanies him on the front row. It's then Max Scavenger and Jenith that start on the second row. Sauber having a great day out, 5th and 7th on the grid. Red Bull definitely looking like the best constructor so far, 2 and 3 for them. But now we just wait for this race to transpire. Our first 25% race of the afternoon. Jorn, I've got to come to you. The Ferrari starting on pole. We've got 2 Red Bulls in the top 3. If you've got to give me an early shout here for a prediction, who do you think's taking the cake?
I'm going to have to say, I might throw a spanner in the works here, and I'm going to say Max Scavenger. I don't think he's going to play any team games for his teammate here who's fighting for the potential championship.
Definitely a prediction that was, and we will see if that comes true. Me personally, obviously I've got no experience in F7, so you'd have to say the most likely person to win is Slow P Gamer that's on pole position, but you've got 2 Red Bulls up there. They might play the team game, they might not. There's a chance that they can work together to try and get the Ferrari, then maybe battle on later in the race. But you've got to remember, I believe this race is only 14 laps. We've only got 1 pit stop, so definitely not major amounts of time to work things out. It's going to be pedal to the metal and just give it everything for these 14 laps. And that is what's so great about 25% races. You haven't got the massive strategy element. You haven't got any sort of safety car periods where it's really going to be massive to pit at this time or get onto these tyres. It is just quite simply go for it and pray that the car sticks.
Might I add here, Alfie Ward in P10 is on the hard compound of tyre, whilst everyone else is on the soft.
Definitely an interesting choice down at Haas. Hard tyres, you'd assume, go late into the race, then bolt on the softs and have a sprint at the end. We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on him and see, is he able to maintain that 10th place on the hards? Is he going to lose a lot of positions to the car behind? You can see Slow P Gamer on the mediums, Max and Jenith also on the mediums, a Giant Stick starting on the softs. Definitely watch for him down into turn 1 and 3.
He's going to be giving it his all, I reckon, to try and maybe make a nice little gap away from everyone else.
We've then also got both Saubers on the softs as well. Maybe some team games going down at the Swiss outfit. We've got Ace Drift, the lead and only McLaren here today. Definitely looking to carry McLaren through their home Grand Prix. This one's surely got a classic written all over it.
I reckon so too. I feel like we're going to have proper great entertainment upon with us today. There's also Nimble Cat. There's also one to watch as well. So let's have a quick throwback to Italy. So in Italy, Nimble Cat had a bit of an incident at turn 2. Dropped him straight down the grid, was dead last, and he managed to finish P3, I believe. So Nimble's in P9. Might we see a comeback from him today to go up the grid order?
And that is the thing. We look at the guys that are at the front. Slow P Gamer, a Giant Stick, Max Scavenger. We've then got 5th down to 9th, all on the soft compound tyres. Is there anyone that can come through the grid and try and make a name for themselves? Is there maybe one of the front runners? There's always a chance for incidents and, you know, even punctures if you take the soft tyres or even the medium tyres too long into this race. it's completely wide open. You may look at this and go, the people that have got the best chance of a win are the top 3, but anything can happen in Formula 1.
That is true. So now we get ready for the 5 red lights.
Doug slowly getting himself onto the grid, as is the Mercedes of Shining Swarm, making sure to absolutely ace the parking as he gets onto the grid then, and we now await those fabled 5 red lights. 5 red lights ahead of the drivers then in Silverstone, and it is lights out and away we go. A very fast starting Williams at the back there, and a bit of wheel spin for Slow P Gamer as into turn 1. Down the inside goes a giant stick. They're jockeying for position already down into turn 1, but it just seems now the 2 Red Bulls start scrapping, and round goes Max Scavenger. And that is an awful start for Red Bull. 2 of their drivers scrapping away, and immediately Max sent round. We've got even more contact. There's a V-carb involved. We've got Ashton in the Ferrari as well. Drama on the opening corners of Silverstone. Multiple cars involved. We've got Gert Meitzer, who's barely even got away from the start line. But for the Ferrari of Slow P Gamer, the ideal start, but a giant stick definitely fighting towards cops.
Max not had an amazing start there as Gert Meitzer is disqualified from the session. As Max now, he's in P17. He went from P3 to P17. Mad Riot, unbelievably up into P3. And Vicious Vicar, who he's been overtaken by his teammate Ace Claret, Wobbly Lizard, all had an amazing start there. So, Ace Claret has made up 12 positions.
Absolutely incredible start from the Williams, definitely aided by some of that contact, but doing very well to get through it. Almost reminiscent of that scene in Cars, where cars are going everywhere and Lightning McQueen just picks his way through it. Ace Claret, easily one of the best lap 1s that I've ever seen. 5th already for Williams, and they will definitely be happy with that. James Vowles will be on the radio, spurring him on as he's still in DRS of Vicious Vicar as well. The 2 Saubers, very fast starting as well, up to 3rd and 4th. I kept an eye on them during qualifying, and they definitely look like a very good constructor. And 3rd and 4th now, the Swiss outfit will be very happy. But they have just dropped out of the DRS to the Ferrari and the Red Bull, and this is going to be a Giant Stick's first chance with the DRS to try and get through.
As Jennifer Lee, they're missing a lot of front wing there as well. As now Giant Stick passes him down into turn 6 we go. As the Giant Stick says thank you very much and I'll see you later.
Nice and easy for the Red Bull down the inside. Slow P Gamer knew he didn't really want to fight that. He didn't really have the resource to fight that. But as long as he can stick with him through Copts, Maggots and Beckett's, he will have another great chance as we get onto the Wellington Straight, although very wide there through Cop's corner. That is exactly a carbon copy of what a Giant Stick had last lap. The gap just under half a second. Surely a great chance for Slow P Gamer to try and get through. A much better exit as well. Both of them onto the grass through the exit there. And now with the DRS, is there an opportunity for the Ferrari to try and go through? Just looks like he's biding his time for the time being as we get into Stowe Corner. A Giant Stick leads Slow P Gamer.
As you might have seen there as well, he was flashing quite a lot of Giant Stick. He's running low on the energy recovery system. Needs to recharge that battery up. Get away from Slowpoke Gamer whilst they are on lots of very different percentages here. One's on 40 and the other's on 10 at the moment. Whilst Giant Stick takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. As a Mad Riot and his teammate Vicious Vicar just slowly towing each other along with a bit of faint slipstream and DRS. Ace Claret on the charge after that 12th position gain he made. Wobbly Lizard stayed where he is, hasn't lost out and hasn't made any places. Nimble Cat up by 2, Alfie Woods up by 2 on the hard compound of tyre. Ace Drift lost a place at the start and he's missing a bit of front wing there as well.
Definitely a very chaotic lap 1, but for the 2 leaders, an absolutely ideal start. They're out of DRS to the cars behind and they can fight between themselves. Sauber doing very well as well. Ace Claret, obviously the main man at the start, getting through masses of cars. Wobbly Lizard not losing positions, not gaining. I'm sure he'll be happy after that chaotic lap 1. We've got Nimble Cat involved in that fight as well. Alfie Edwards started on the hard compound tyres, has actually gained positions, so definitely could be a threat later in this race.
Of course, anything can happen in Formula 7 Tier 4. It's one of the tiers. There's Doug there, got a bit wide. Had to cut the corner before the DRS there. As he gets past the McLaren of Ace Drift and says, "See you later, pal. I'm up by 9 places." As Wobbly Lizard overtakes 2 drivers into the chicane. Unbelievable stuff there from Wobbly Lizard. Just what a lot of people might have been wanting to see. As at the moment, it's a 3-car battle for P4.
I did pose the question in qualifying. Could we see a moment through the final chicane like Hamilton, Perez and Leclerc back in 2022? Well, there is your answer. Yes, we can. Wobbly Lizard, absolutely instinctual racing, managing to get through. Ace Claret, though, now has the opportunity with the DRS, but he's got to be careful because he's got Nimble Cat right behind him as well. This battle does not look like it's going to end anytime soon, as we've got a yellow flag in the final sector. I believe that was for Shining Swarm, who's just now being passed by Flames into the final chicane. Those drivers both having to box in early laps. Obviously, some sort of incident occurring.
Obviously, yeah, I think they got a bit of front wing damage. Jennifer Lee was missing the front left wing. So a bit of contact at the start as Shining Swarm and Flames seem to be having a nice little battle of their own here. As Shining Swarm looks to try and go a bit wide there and get the wider exit to overtake them, but it didn't seem to have worked. As a Giant Stick and Slowpoke came out to swap positions again. They're back to where they started. Whilst Mad Riot is slowly catching up with this this train of people. Whilst he now dives into the pits as his teammate did, I believe, a lap prior to go onto the hard tyres. So they're going longer. That is throwing a spanner in the works for what we discussed about tyres earlier, hasn't it?
Most certainly. That is definitely a strategy that I've not personally seen in F1 League Racing, but F7 always throwing spanners in the works, always very interesting, and strategy always one of the biggest talking points of Formula 1. The Saubers definitely deciding that going onto the hards and running long in this race is the better strategy, and we will only find out if that is the case at the end of these 13 laps. A Giant Stick still sat behind Slow P Gamer, not really going for the move into Brooklands, just throws a little dummy just to try and put Slow P Gamer off, but you're definitely going to have to work harder than that to throw off the pole sitter.
As Mad Riot is actually overcut his teammate. So Mad Riot had boxed after Vicious Vicar and he's come out ahead. I think that Medium's obviously dropping off around lap 4. You'd think he'd have lost out to his teammate, but no, he hasn't.
Now the question is, does that bode well for the Sauber pair? If the overcut is better, a Giant Stick and Slow P Gamer are going to gain massive amounts of time here, if that is to be the case. So maybe panic stations down at Sauber as they realise maybe this strategy is not what they've asked for. The Silverstone pit lane, one of the longest pit lanes on the Formula 1 calendar, is now a Giant Stick comes into the pit lane. So this is going to be very interesting to see where he comes out alongside the Saubers.
Yes, I think Giant Stick might maybe go on to he might be going on to the mediums for the last, 7 laps here. As Wobbly Lizard overtakes them now, and so does Ace Claret as they are boxing. Doug L also pits in the Aston Martin. Max Scavenger doesn't box, goes around the final corner with Kevin Gamer behind him. So these guys are going to going a bit longer here to go on for the soft tyre and maybe wait it out a little bit.
Max Scavenger obviously having to make a massive comeback after being punted round at turn 3 on lap 1. He's currently fighting away with Kevin Gamer. Both of them have not boxed yet. Nobody in the top 7 has boxed yet. It's then a Giant Stick who has got out ahead of Mad Riot, but that gap is definitely a little bit smaller than it was before they came into the pit lane. So Mad Riot, maybe that strategy has worked out. The two Saubers dragging each other along with DRS as well. Are the team games being played down at Sauber? Are they maybe looking to drag each other along, get into that lead fight, and then if you do get into those positions that you really want to be in, first and second, do you let the cars battle? Now it will be interesting to see, does Slow P Gamer box this lap? He does indeed. So into the pit lane he comes then. Now this is going to be a big sighting. Is the overcut or the undercut better? They were mere tenths away from each other when a Giant Stick came into the pit lane. He is currently in 8th place. We are watching him just come down the Wellington straight now into Stowe corner. As I mentioned, Silverstone pit lane, one of the longest on the calendar. So is this an opportunity for a Giant Stick to try and put some good lap times down and get out ahead? Alfie Edwards continues on the hard compound tyres and leads. Max Scavenger takes second place with Kevin Gamer right behind him. Now, as we go through turn 1 with a Giant Stick, where's Slow P Gamer? He's just coming out of the pit lane. They're almost wheel to wheel as we go through turn 3. But interestingly enough, Slow P Gamer onto the hard compound tyres, a Giant Stick on the mediums. Is this a Giant Stick's moment to try and get through?
A Giant Stick needs to manage that battery a little bit more as Honda PTEC 94 gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. Giant Stick struggling to be on the battery here, while Slowpoke Gamer as well. They're also streamed to be struggling on the battery as well as a Giant Stick tries to get the inside line. He's gone off and he's onto the gravel. That's going to definitely affect his exit of the corner there. That might bog him down a bit as though it through Cops now. Grabs the apex, getting a little bit of understiff from that dirty air. As we head now into Maggots and Beckett's. The battery recharge begins for Slowpoke Gamer. This yellow flag. That is a Williams. I believe that's Kevin Gamer. That is Kevin Gamer. Hopefully he does a safe rejoin. He does. It's now DRS wide open for the Giant Stick, who's trying to catch up to Slowpoke Gamer. But that straight line speed is immaculate from Slowpoke Gamer there.
And that is the thing, this circuit is so power orientated. Apart from the final chicane, which we're going through now, there's not really any slow speed corners. So it's so difficult to charge that battery. And when you're using it, trying to overtake, trying to defend, trying to gain to a car ahead, you just drain that battery and then it's so hard to try and gain it back that eventually it just becomes a war of who has got more battery. Alfie Edwards came into the pit lane this lap as there down the inside goes a Giant Stick. Now we'll have the outside line, maybe looking for the old switcheroo, cuts under the Ferrari. Great traction on that Red Bull as we now go down this next straight and towards Brooklands. Is there an opportunity opening up for the Red Bull? It just looks like it's a little too much to try and get through. He is just pulling wheel to wheel though, now maybe again looking to switch underneath the rear wing of the Ferrari. Slow P Gamer, an incredible job defensively, somehow managing to keep the car behind him.
Unbelievable stuff. Just able to catch back up. But as we look now behind, by the way, I thought I might mention, we have 2 kick Saubers that have mysteriously appeared. So, is this now maybe their chance to maybe make a move on the drivers ahead?
1.3 seconds is the gap and decreasing from Mad Riot to a Giant Stick, and while these two squabble ahead, it's only going to help the Saubers out. Max Scavenger now makes his way into the pit lane, the last of all of the drivers in this race not to come in to the pits yet. As I mentioned, Alfie Edwards came into the pits. He's now running 9th, the only man on the soft compound tyres, so he will definitely be a threat in the final 3 laps of this race as Slow P Gamer now retakes the lead of the British Grand Prix. A Giant Stick follows him in behind, and it's then Mad Riot 1.5 seconds behind a Giant Stick. Is there an opportunity for those Saubers to try and gain ahead, get into the DRS and insert themselves in this race-winning fight?
Max Scavenger going to come out, I believe, around P11 here, maybe P12. Between Ace Drift there as he comes out of the pits. Yes, Ace Drift overtakes him there. But back up to the top, Mad Riot and Vicious Vic are working together very well here. 3 attempts, 4 attempts now between one of the Saubers. As now we see it slightly catching up. The Giant Stick is slightly catching up with it as well.
Just about 6 tenths behind as we go through Cop's Corner, and you can see already the medium tyres taking a little bit of a beating as we make our way through Maggots and Beckett's, and the hard compound tyre choice of Slow P Gamer now maybe starting to show itself as now nearly 9 tenths of a second. DRS will be enabled for a Giant Stick to try and bring some of that gap back, but he's not gaining as much as he would like to. Is Slow P Gamer about to put the hammer down, put in some quick sector times, and potentially draw himself out of that DRS range to a Giant Stick? If so, are the hard runners of Mad Riot and Vicious Vicar then in the better place to try and gain on the Red Bull and try and make a late race pass?
I think it's on the cards here for everyone to do anything at the moment. This Nimblecat gets a 3-second time penalty, who drops down to P10 now. Wow, has Nimblecat had a bit of an incident there? Yes, he has. He's went onto the grass through the chicane. As Kevin Gamer picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. So Nimblecat going to be a bit upset, maybe a bit upset. He's forgetting about that as a giant stick and Slowpoke Gamer continue the battle.
Slowpoke Gamer completely off the track. He's messed up the braking as we go into Brooklands. I'm really not sure what happened there. It almost looked like maybe his controller or wheel disconnected. Just completely veered off the road onto the grass. Through goes a giant stick. And now 1.5 seconds ahead. We assume the hard tyres should be better. Can he gain back that time? Or is that the crucial moment that Slowpoke Gamer has lost the British Grand Prix?
My apologies for not picking that up. On my screen, he was actually going round the corner. And then all of a sudden, him teleport back. So, now a giant stick's getting the biggest advantage. He's on the fresher medium tyres with more grip, but degrading at a better, a faster pace than the hard tyres. So which tyre is going to show dividends? Because at the moment, Slowpoke Gamer might seem a bit vulnerable to the kick Saubers here.
Absolutely astonishing stuff, leading the race, doing such a good job defensively. But that's all it takes in Formula 1. That's all it takes in F7. One little mistake and your adversary's ready to pounce immediately. Lap 11 of 13 of this British Grand Prix. The gap between the leaders, 1.3 seconds. Is there a late race opportunity for the Ferrari to try and gain some back of that lost time? Or is that the deciding moment in this race? Max Scavenger sets the fastest lap of the race in 1 minute 29.4. He's currently in 11th on the soft compound tyres. Definitely a man to watch out for in the reverse race. He's got something to prove.
Yes, of course. As just a reminder to any of the viewers, I might add, !Discord if you want to join us for racing. We have LMU, Realistic and Tier 1 later tonight. Not later tonight. Later tonight is Tier 1. Later this week is LMU, and we also host a Seto Corsa Competizione, which is, I believe, on a Monday or Tuesday. So be sure to join us and tune in for those. As Vicious Vicar is catching his teammate at a rate of knots here, sorry. Very close now is Jennifer Lee, also catching up with Alfie Wards. Is those soft tyres dying off really quick here? Jennifer Lee and Alfie Wards, both Haas drivers. Is Alfie Wards going to let his teammate by to get the points for the championship battle that they might be able to get into?
You can see the struggle for traction on board with Alfie. Just nothing he can do, even if he wanted to fight it. I don't think he's got the grip to do so. Through goes Jenneth into 7th place. Now, is that maybe going to be the case with Vicious Vicar and Mad Riot? The two Sauber teammates have worked so well all race long, keeping each other in DRS, going round together very cleanly. No moves being made so far, but only 2 laps to go now of this British Grand Prix. Is it maybe time to swing the door open? Go on, guys. Have a race, see who wins, but just keep it fair, because the Constructors' Championship, such a big thing in Formula 1. So much prize money going to these teams. Kick Sauber, definitely not a team you'd expect to fight for the Constructors' Championship, but F7, anything can happen, and that is exactly what they are looking to do in this Silverstone race.
Of course, as now we're heading on to the final lap actually. This is the penultimate lap. It's 1.4 second gap, 1.3 now between a giant stick and Slowpoke Gamer, 2.8 between Slowpoke Gamer and Mad Riot, 6/10 between Vicious Vicar. But looking at this now at the back, Alfie Ward seems to not really be giving up against his teammate. Might be trying to give them a little fight, whilst Max Scavenger giving it his all as well. He's got not a lot of battery left, but he's going to try and take Nimblecat before the next lap as we're heading in now. As a Slowpoke Gamer here has gained 4/10 there. As they're heading in to the chicane now, through club goes a giant stick. The final lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix. This is where it all lies. Who's going to give it the best and who's going to get the top? Who will win and who will fall? Take it away, JP.
He's just got into the DRS. This is exactly the lap he needed it. As we make our way through the first sector then, Ferrari versus Red Bull. So many iconic battles in Formula 1 have these two teams had, and it looks like we're going to have another page of history added here in F7. Slowpoke Gamer, a giant stick. Who's going to come out on top? You can imagine those medium tyres on the Red Bull just starting to give way now. The hard tyres of Slow P Gamer, not only a lap younger as well, but definitely going to have some better performance as we now move on to the middle part of this final lap. And you can see the pace advantage on board with Slow P Gamer as we make our way through Copse Corner for one final time, just dipping a wheel onto the gravel. A great exit for a giant stick. But this is the moment that matters. Maggots and Beckett's, how good's your speed? How much speed can you carry? How is your exit? A giant stick now 8/10 ahead. A bit of a worse exit though as Slow P Gamer picks up a 3-second time penalty. And that is exactly what he did not need as we make our way into Stowe Corner then. A giant stick has given it absolutely everything all race long, battled away early. When the mistake was made from the Ferrari, he was there to take the position and through the Vale chicane for one final time. It is Red Bull on top in Silverstone. A giant stick wins the British Grand Prix. It is Slow P Gamer that will come home in second place. Mad Riot and Vicious Vicar battling to the line. It's Mad Riot that takes the final podium position. Vicious Vicar settles for fourth. It's Wobbly Lizard, should I say, that finishes in fifth. Ace Claret, a brilliant race from the Williams, finishes in sixth place. Jenniff just 50 milliseconds off after Ace Claret's penalty, finishes in 7th, with Alfie Edwards in 8th place. Doug finishes 9th. Max Scavenger makes a comeback drive to 10th place. It's Nimblecat in 11th, with Ashton in 12th. Ace Drift finishes 13th, with Kevin Gamer falling to 15th after the flag as Shining Swarm gets ahead of him after the penalties. It will then be Flames that just comes through the final chicane now to finish in 16th, and Honda for Mercedes-Benz will finish in 17th place. But Yawn, what a Grand Prix that was, and we've still got another race to come up yet.
Unbelievable stuff here. It's a shame to see Honda VTEC at the bottom, and it's almost like what happened in Italy, in Monza. On the final lap, the final few corners, Slowpoke Gamer picked up that time penalty, but this time, Slowpoke Gamer was behind when they got the penalty, and a giant stick was ahead. The absolute pride and joy the giant stick will probably be having here today is insane.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. He receives his winner's trophy, and a winner's trophy very well deserved. That is your British Grand Prix over with, but do not go anywhere because now we go backwards. We run it back one more time. The Silverstone reverse race up next, but before we take to the track in Grand Prix action, first we must qualify. Another 18-minute qualifying session for you. And after seeing that race and seeing the first qualifying, Yawn, do we say it's going to be about the same? A giant stick, Slow P Gamer, Max Scavenger up there? Or is it all going to be thrown up in the air?
I'm not entirely too sure. It's a reverse track. The track's really different. The braking zones change. Throttle inputs are going to be really different everywhere. So I feel like this might be a very different track that we'll be racing on.
Even setup-wise, it is very, very different. If you play the F125 game, the setup difference between the normal Silverstone layout and the reverse, because the corner profiles become so different. So definitely an opportunity for different drivers to try and get themselves up here. And honestly, if it's anything like that race that we just saw, this is definitely going to be a mega race.
So obviously, that was in a fantastic race. Who would you say your driver of the day is?
Oh, that's a good question. You could always just go with the easy pick and go with a giant stick. Won the race, did very well. For me personally, I think I've got to give it to Ace Claret. An amazing first lap, as I mentioned when we were commentating it. A complete Cars moment, making his way through the chaos. Got to be Ace Claret for me.
So Ace Claret is the driver of the day for the Silverstone normal way. I will be back in a couple minutes. My father needs me downstairs. My apologies to everyone.
Not a problem at all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I say, don't go anywhere. We have still got a reverse Silverstone race to come up for you. And if that race was a precursor for the reverse race, you definitely want to stick around. If you aren't following already, do hit the follow button down below. F7 Racing, live nearly every day of the week with multiple different racing action. We've got Formula 1, Assetto Corsa Competizione, we've got Le Mans Ultimate. If you are just a fan of racing in general, I can promise you, you will love this Twitch channel. So we now just wait for the lobby to get sorted out. We just wait for everyone to be ready, get their setups all clarified, and we will get racing once more. Obviously, you would look at qualifying for the main race and go, you know, a giant stick's going to be up there. The Saubers will be up there. Max Scavenger, Slow P Gamer. The reverse tracks are so different on this game. The corner profiles all completely different. It's all going to be thrown up in the air once more. Forget everything that you have just seen. This is a completely different race, and I can assure you it will be an absolutely enthralling one. Welcome to everyone in chat, by the way. I do apologise. I've only just pulled it up on my phone. I hope you are all enjoying the action wherever you are in the world. 18 minutes of qualifying, followed by a 13-lap race around the reverse orientation of this Silverstone circuit. And what a race this is promised to be. A giant stick in the chat saying, GG's man, that was a hell of a race. A hell of a race. It was indeed. Fighting at the front, fights through the mid-pack. Everywhere you looked, there was battling going on. And long may that continue into this reverse race. Like I say, we just wait for this lobby to be set up. Everyone get ready, get the settings all correct. Hell, the weather's on dynamic. Maybe we could see a bit of rain. We are in Britain. We are in Silverstone. And definitely opportunity for the heavens to open. And we all know what happens when the weather decides to turn up. There are certain drivers that just have a little knack about them in the wet. And definitely an opportunity for some more people to show off their skills. Wobbly Lizard being shouted as a big contender for P1 here, as apparently he is very good around the reverse orientation of Silverstone. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on Wobbly Lizard. I think he finished P5 in the main race, if I am not mistaken. So definitely not doing bad in the normal orientation. But the reverse is... it's a completely different track. It may be the same venue, it may be the same corners, but racing it backwards, it completely throws everything up into the air. Your first corner is a very slow chicane. You then make your way backwards through Stowe Corner. You've got Cops backwards. You've then got Brooklands and Luffield backwards as well. It's a completely different racing circuit. You could honestly copy and paste Silverstone, put it somewhere else in the world, call it a new race, and just run it backwards. And I'm sure the FIA would homologate it. Absolutely brilliant. But we are now readying up, and we are getting ready for our 18 minutes of qualifying to begin for this reverse race. Alvaro, thank you very much, my friend. I'm doing my best. It will definitely be better once I've commentated a few more times, once I get some stats for you guys. Maybe I can put the championship standings on the screen and stuff like that. Bit of a rush today to try and get the stream ready. I've had a very busy day, it must be said, so definitely a little bit rushed, but we're doing well so far. The stream hasn't crashed, my PC hasn't blown up, the racing's been absolutely incredible, so definitely couldn't ask for better, and hopefully, potentially next week, we'll have some championship standings or maybe the calendar that we can show you on a little graphic, just to maybe make these downtimes a bit more exciting. But here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. 18 minutes of qualifying around backwards Silverstone. Sun still shining here at the British Grand Prix circuit, the home of British racing. So no weather looking like it's going to intrude qualifying. Obviously, it could come later in the session, but looking like it's staying away for the time being. And we just await the first cars out on track. Definitely very patient drivers in this league, it has to be said. Nobody rushing to get out on track. Definitely no real sense of urgency in the pit lane in the early part of qualifying, it has to be said. But maybe that is for the better, because when you get stressed out, you make little mistakes. You think Slow P Gamer in the main race, under pressure from a giant stick, almost all race long, and it was just that one little lapse of concentration. Onto the grass you go, and that is your race win out of contention. we just await now. Here's a car coming out on track. Looks like it's an Aston Martin. We've also got someone further down the pit lane. I believe that may be a V-carb. It is a V-carb. We've got a giant stick for Red Bull coming out as well. So the track now comes alive with the noise of Formula One vehicles. And we can see who is going to take pole. That is the question. We've obviously had a lot of shouts for Wobbly Lizard in the chat for Aston Martin. You've obviously got to put names up there like a Giant Stick, Max Scavenger, and Slow P Gamer that were very quick in the main race and the main qualifying. Flames for V-Carb is the first man out on track and weaving away to warm up those soft compound tyres. We'll quickly get all of our details enabled. You can see everyone on the soft compound tyres. Definitely wouldn't be expecting any mediums in this session, it has to be said. And you can just see the track's almost unrecognizable. There you see Flames having a big moment through, I believe that was Klopp's corner. But it's almost impossible to recognize this as Silverstone. If you were to take away all the grandstands and the BRDC clubhouse and whatnot, it would definitely be difficult to look at this circuit and say, yeah, that's Silverstone. Flames just making his way towards the end of his outlap to begin pushing on his first flying lap. This little corner complex, one I absolutely love. A completely flat right-hander and then a big braking zone. Very good overtaking opportunity around into that complex. And now Flames will get the power down as he begins his first flying lap of the session and the first flying lap of the session. Across the line he comes then, and V-Carb set off as the first team to race around this Silverstone reverse circuit. A little bit wide through turn 1 and 2, but definitely nothing that will cost him a major amount of time as we now make our way backwards, I believe, into Stowe corner. Very easy to run the car wide here. Flames completely avoids that, gets the DRS enabled, and now makes his way towards, should we call it Beckett's and Maggots, I guess, as we're going backwards through this sequence of corners. Looks like the car in good tune though, stays well away from the sausage curb on the outside, which you don't want to get near at all. Copse corner should be flat, little bit of a lift off and very wide and into the wall. Goes the V-Carb there, stays off the racing line to avoid getting in anyone's way, but Flames with a big moment there through Copse corner. That will be front wing damage as well. We've also got Honda off the track through Copse corner, and he's just going slowly to make sure that he can rejoin as safely as possible. But Copse corner definitely providing some chaos early in this race, as in this qualifying session, should I say, as Flames, you can see, still struggling with the setup of that car. We've got a Giant Stick and Max Scavenger out on track. It looks like a Giant Stick will be the first man to set a competitive lap time. So through the final corner he comes now, and towards the line he drives. It's a 1 minute 27.8 for a Giant Stick, and we now await everyone else. Ace Claret is just making his way through Luffield. NRG Kevin Gamer goes to P2 with a 1 minute 30.2. Honda obviously abandoned his lap after that moment that he had. We've got Alfie Edwards going to P3 with a 1:37.7, so definitely some sort of trouble he's had on that lap. Doug goes into P2 with a 1 minute 29.7. We're on board with Ace Claret, who's just coming through the final couple of corners now. A man that looked very good at overtaking in the forward race, shall we say. Ace Claret, how's your qualifying pace? He makes his way through the final corner now for Williams and goes P2 with a 1 minute 28.2. Honda makes his way back into the pit lane after that incident. Slow P Gamer now comes around the final corner. Pole sitter for the main race. 2/10 shy of a Giant Stick in this part of qualifying. Ace Drift has invalidated his lap. Nimble Cat is just coming through the final couple of corners now. Very expensive lawnmower, that Alpine looks, as he just rides onto the grass. It's P6 for him with a 1 minute 29.8. Jenith, I believe, is also on a lap and is just coming through Stowe corner, running a little bit wide and onto the gravel. Ashton is just making his way through turn 1 and 2. Ace Drift now begins his next flying lap. Wobbly Lizard is making his way to starting his lap, and we've heard from the chat Wobbly Lizard, definitely a contender for pole position, it would seem. So we must keep our eyes out for him. Jenith is making their way through Copse Corner now. We've already had a few moments through Copse, even on outlaps. Jenith managing to avoid that for the time being, as now into Luffield we go. And the Haas car almost looking like it's on rails. Very, very stable. And Luffield backwards. Such a long, tedious corner, waiting for the front end to grip up so you can finally get the power down. But Jenith looking very stable in their Haas machinery as they make their way towards the end of the lap then. And we see, is this car producing the pace that it had in the main race? Jenith towards the final couple of corners now then. How's it going to be? Completely flat through the penultimate and final corner. They've invalidated at the final corner. It would have been a 28-0. That would have taken them to P2. But an invalidation means they will have to go round for another lap. Ashton is making their way towards the final corner now. No invalidation for Ferrari. Slopey Gamer currently second for Ferrari. Ashton slots into 5th place. So Ferrari definitely looking like challengers for pole position at this time. Wobbly Lizard has invalidated his lap, so we'll have to go once again. Ace Drift is coming into the pit lane. A giant stick goes further onto pole with a 27.4.
Might I add there, sorry. Ace Drift missing a front left end plate on his car.
We have seen multiple incidents in this qualifying session so far. We've had multiple cars even into the wall out of Copse Corner, running very wide at Copse Corner. We've seen cars in the gravel on the exit of Stowe. This reverse orientation, it's very difficult to get to grips with, not only mechanically, but mentally as well. It's so weird thinking, I should be going through this corner at this speed, and now you're doing it backwards. It's completely different.
It's also tighter as well. You've got to get that wheel correct as well as the input. As there with Giant Stick on his in lap, sorry, it just looked a little bit unstable. He had to do a little bit of a jiggle with the wheel there. Then just to get the car angled up straight, as Kevin has missed the pit lane, I believe. But now into the pits now, this lap, as the Germeitzer is on a lap as well, going on. Oh, this is going to throw me off. Going through Woodcote into. Oh.
It is incredibly confusing trying to remember corner names and knowing where the cars are on track. To be honest, I don't even know what sector anybody is in. I don't know where the sectors start or end. It's almost impossible to look at a track and then go, oh yeah, let's do it backwards and remember everything. It's so difficult.
Yeah, EA thought, oh, do you know what? That's a mint idea, that. I'll post this. We'll get the staff on it, and there we go. We'll put it in the game. As Gertmeister boxes does not finish his lap. Now, we've got to remember, this pit lane's downhill.
That is a very good point, and obviously you have the pit limiter, you have a line where you have to be under a certain speed, or you will get a 10-second penalty. That could pay dividends in race trim, because I think the actual speed you go into the pit lane is different as well from the normal orientation. I think it's 37 mile an hour.
I believe they're both 37 mile an hour, and I think that totals up to 50 kph, I believe.
Ah, right then. I'm chatting absolute waffle.
Oh, yes. Chocolate waffle.
Wobbly Lizard, who has been shouted out as a potential pole sitter, moves into P2 with a 1 minute 27.8. Just about 4/10 shy of a giant stick, but definitely adding validation to those comments in the chat. We've got Alfie Edwards, who's just on a lap, coming through Beckett's and Maggots, should we call it. We've then got Honda coming through a lap as well, just tediously making his way through Luffield.
Missing a front wing as well, missing a bit of front wing. Saw a yellow flag just, that was Honda VTEC, so I think he's had a bit of contact with the wall.
Would most certainly seem like it. I'd like to hope the Mercedes front wing isn't that bouncy and parts don't just fly off it, especially in the Formula 1 game. So we're going to have to assume there's been some sort of maybe a kiss with the wall or something like that, just to remind the wall that the racing car is there. Definitely not the ideal trim that you'd want to qualify in, it must be said, and he makes his way.
Cut. I think that was in gear 6 on the VTEC, a bit of a pit lane cut. As no, to add on to that, no, it's just Mercedes' new upgrade they bought, dispersible wings.
Ah, that makes sense. Well, if that is to be the case, maybe not working out so far because Shining Swarm and Honda VTEC both not setting laps yet, and we are quite a distance into this qualifying session. 7 minutes and 20 seconds left to be exact.
Alfie Edwards there just went to P4. It was a fantastic lap. He improved by 9 seconds, obviously, I believe from an invalidated lap or prior lap he did. But to get up to P4 in reverse, that is very great, as his teammate is down in the bottom, nearly last, actually, as they're on a lap. A slow P Gamer improves with 27.3. So it's a 10th difference near enough, as slow P Gamer cuts the track there. Wow. Sorry about that, everyone.
Halfway through this qualifying session and the times are tumbling. Ace Drift now makes his way into 4th place for McLaren, and everywhere you look, the times are changing for every single driver. Improvements everywhere you look. Still 4 cars yet to set a lap. One of them being Max Scavenger, who was on, I believe, the 2nd row in the main forwards Grand Prix. Should we be expecting him up towards the front?
Oh, that was very close. Wow. What? Slowpoke Gamer, and I think that's Janet. No, that's Alfie Edwards here. Going very slow there.
Very interesting. Alfie, we can see taking off the track. We know he's just set his lap, as has Slow P Gamer, so they are both now on in laps. Jenith, Alfie's teammate, has made their way into 3rd place with a 1 minute 27.6, so definitely inserting their name into the hat of potential pole sitters. Max Scavenger is on his lap now, as Slow P Gamer gets a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Alfie Edwards.
Wow, as we were talking about there, sorry about this, my game has just thought it would turn off. As we were about, obviously, they were slowing down on the middle of the track there, which was very dangerous. And I feel like this might be something the stewards might have a look at later on, because now they've got a collision, which is a 5-place grid penalty. I think the stewards' room might be a little bit full later on, and I think a massive discussion will happen.
Most certainly. I mean, Slow P Gamer, currently on provisional pole position. He's already taken pole once today. It cannot be a second. He's on pole by nearly a 1/10 of a second, but that 5-place grid penalty is going to cost him. So now we're looking at who can take 2nd place. Can anyone try and get ahead of Slow P Gamer and drop him even further down? Max Scavenger, a name that was on the 2nd row in the main race, is now making his way around the final corner, slots into P4 with a 1 minute 27.8. We've also got Honda VTEC on a lap as well, the only man to not set a lap thus far. But big controversy in qualifying. Slow P Gamer and Alfie Edwards make contact. A 5-place grid penalty for Slow P Gamer, and that is going to throw this all up in the air now.
Jack, could you drop me a quick invite, please, pal?
Yes, not a problem, mate. Let's get you in. Definitely,
sorry about this, everyone.
Definitely want you in the session, let's say. We don't want you just guessing where cars are during the race, that's for sure.
P7's where P4 is.
Yeah. And he's just come around the final corner to win on lap 1.
Oh, hang on, I know this guy. He was in P12 10 seconds ago. Now he's in P1. It's the same guy.
Honda VTEC just making their way through the final couple of corners then to complete their lap. He is the only man yet to set a lap in this qualifying session. Car looking quite stable through the final couple of corners. Mercedes-Benz having massive success around Silverstone. Can't say they've ever raced it in reverse, but definitely interesting to see where he can go. It's 17th at the minute, a 1:30.3, and he retires from the session, so that will be the one and only lap that Honda sets. Max is on his in lap, so we now turn our attention to, I believe, Ace Claret.
Sorry, pal, give me a sec. Please doing something.
Not a problem, mate. Ace Claret just making their way through Luffield and definitely having aborted this lap. So let's see, who have we got on a push lap? Vicious Vicar I believe, has just set their lap. A 1 minute 27.7 slots into P4. And P4 looks like a very contended position. We've had a lot of drivers take P4 in this session. We've also got Nimble Cat out on track, just making their way through Maggots and Beckett's. Doesn't look like they are on a lap. Mad Riot has invalidated. Flames potentially on a lap as they make their way through Copse Corner. Looks like they are deploying battery. We'll see when we get to the end of Sector 2. Are they up? Are they down as they make their way through Luffield now then? In this corner, it just feels like it's never going to end, as now through Brooklands you go past the BRDC clubhouse and under the Pirelli Bridge, just the 10th down on their previous lap. We've got a Giant Stick making their way onto what you can only assume will be their final lap. 1 minute and 50 seconds left of qualifying, and a Giant Stick. It is time to give it absolutely everything. If you stay to P2, you will still be taking pole position thanks to Slow P Gamer's grid penalty. But just for the bragging rights, these guys are racers. You just want to be first, don't you?
Of course, everyone wants to take the lead of the Grand Prix as quick as they can, whether it's you're starting dead last or starting P1. But you've got to keep your nose where you need to know where it's... Oh, God, I can't give you words out. You need to keep your nose nice and clean and not put it anywhere where you might cause an implication for yourself later on.
Exactly that. As I said before the main race, a race cannot be won on lap 1, but it can definitely be lost. And one of the best ways to lose it is most certainly swipe your front wing off down at turn 1. Definitely something all the drivers want to avoid. A Giant Stick makes his way around the final corner then, and it is provisional pole position, a 1 minute 27.0. Blinding pace from him. Wobbly Wizard goes into second with a 1 minute 27.2. So definitely a valid shout for pole position. He will start this race a best of second. Slow P Gamer doesn't look like he'll improve. He's not got the time to get round again, and he is aborting this lap. So Slow P Gamer, that grid penalty is going to harm him more than taking pole position. Jenith is now on their lap as well and looking to demote the Ferrari even more. So Slow P Gamer definitely going to be one to look out for in the race, trying to make a comeback. Here comes Jenith round the final corner now. Can he try and get into third or better? He just misses out 2 milliseconds off his best lap time. Ace Claret has invalidated. Alfie Edwards, he's on a lap now as he goes through Maggots and Beckett's. Ace Drift is a 10th up as they make their way to the final couple of corners. It is all up in the air for the end of this qualifying session.
This is for anyone's at the moment. The last few laps going on as we have a look around here. Ace Claret invalidates his lap. Alfie Ward's not on a lap. Ace Drift, a 10th up on his lap. Across the line he goes now. He goes to P8, sorry, for the 10th improvement. Nimblecat P10. Kevin Gamer has gone off the road. He's run out of road. And he's letting the Haas car pass. That is Jennifer Lee, I believe. As Flames invalidates his lap. And that seems to be qualifying over and done with.
A Giant Stick. He took, I believe, P2 in the main race qualifying. Well, how does one better sound, my friend? Pole position is secured for Red Bull. Once again on top at Silverstone. Wobbly Lizard will start from second place, and then Slow P Gamer will now drop down to, what, 8th place? So that's going to promote everyone up a position. Definitely a man to keep our eyes on, because he is surely going to have something to prove in this session. He will feel hard done by that grid penalty, and he will want to prove everyone wrong. From 8th on the grid, we've had people win from 8th before. Anything can happen in F7. You just can't rule it out.
Just to put in here, Nimblecat, I believe, has been in a little incident with Mad Riot, and I think that's why we saw Mad Riot not complete another lap. So he's going to be down in P15 as his teammate is in P5. This could get very spicy between all the drivers now.
Most certainly that. We just wait for Jenith's car to be rolled into the pit lane, and we can move ourselves on to the formation lap of our second race of the afternoon. If you are following along on Twitch. Do remember, drop a follow down below. If you are a fan of any racing whatsoever, I can assure you, you are going to want to follow Formula 1 racing, Assetto Corsa Competizione. We've got Le Mans Ultimate as well. All racing action that you can think of is being provided for you at the highest level. There are your qualifying results, ladies and gentlemen. A giant stick on pole position. Wobbly Lizard is in second place. Slopey Gamer is third, but will drop down to 8th. So that will put Jenith and Vicious Vicar on the second row. Max Scavenger definitely looking to avoid the incidents of about half an hour ago down into turn 3 in the main race. Ace Claret and Ace Drift both together as well, albeit for Williams and McLaren, so maybe a little bit of friendly rivalry going on there. Yawn, I will come to you. Giant Stick's taken pole. We've got Slow P Gamer trying to make a comeback. Wobbly Lizard is also involved in the fight. Can you make a prediction for the race?
You can make a prediction with anything. I reckon Slow P Gamer is going to give it his all. We've seen drivers have this happen before, and I'm going to reference Max Verstappen. Didn't do well in that sprint qualifying not last year and the year before in Brazil. He was basically knocked out and he started from the pits, and look at where he finished. I reckon Slow P Gaming, that Scuderia Ferrari, is going to put on a show for us against all the other drivers.
We can only hope for such a thing to happen. We've already had 2 brilliant qualifying sessions and a brilliant race, and we have still got one more race to go. And this, if anything, is going to be more unpredictable. Different track layout, maybe a track layout that drivers haven't raced as much as the normal Silverstone. So there's also that implication of drivers getting used to the track as they go on, as the laps progress. Obviously, chances for drivers to go off, learning the braking zones, learning where is the best place to try and make an overtake. Definitely better opportunity to try and gain battery around here as well. It's a bit more slow speed, so it's completely blown wide open here.
Just had to change my microphone settings so I don't cut out for the lights out. This Giant Stick gets away slowly on formation lap. We'll have a quick look at all their tyres. So we're on the soft, medium, soft. 4 mediums, 3 softs, 2 mediums, 1 soft, 2 mediums again, and Flames starting on the hard compound of the tyre. So it seems to be people are doing the opposite strategy to what they did in the main in the standard layout race.
It definitely seems a lot more mixed. It was a lot of drivers starting on the softs. We had a little population on the mediums and then 1 driver on the hards. The hards is exactly the same. We've got Flames on the hards who starts 18th. But it seems a lot more medium orientated now.
It does. It's going to, I reckon, obviously Mad Riot's on the softs. I feel like Mad Riot could have maybe went on to the mediums, extended that stint a few more laps to then pop it onto the softs at the end to be faster and lighter than that fuel load. I reckon this is going to be an amazing league race here.
We've got a Giant Stick starting from pole, proven his pace. Wobbly Lizard looking to try and take a race win that maybe some people weren't expecting. Jenith is up there as well, looking to make a name for themselves. Max Scavenger looking to try and come back from that very, very frustrating standard layout race. We've got Slow P Gamer looking to make a comeback as well. This race is going to be full of stories. This start is going to be absolutely incredible. Yawn, take us away.
Right, as we all begin now lining up on the grid, as we go through the final corner, which is going to throw us off a bit, is the start. It's going to be go into club, through Vale they go now, into Stowe. As Giant Stick revving that rear tyres up, getting that wheel spin, heating them up, those soft tyres as he gets to the line, bang on centre. To his left, he has Wobbly Lizard 615. Behind them is Jennifer. Alfie is disqualified. Ace Claret is disqualified for incorrect car placements. But it's time we get ready. Oh, and Honda VTEC's gone as well. But now we have to wait for Flames. As Flames now orders up on the grid as we head up to the start now. It's time. It's 1, 2, a 3, and a 4. Here's the 5th. It's lights out, and away we go in Tier 4. Reverse Silverstone. Double header. Giant Stick got a great getaway there. Into Vale he goes now. All the other drivers causing a bit of chaos at the back. 3 drivers have gone off, 4, 5. Now, there's a car in the air. That is Ace Drift there. It's gone straight up in the air. He's got a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. There's 2 cars at the back that have spun. There's major contact at the back of the grid there. That's Flames Shining and Honda VTEC there. This Giant Stick's got away very nicely here against Wobbly Lizard. Jennifer Lee chasing him down now. The Hamilton straight into Beckett, and then Maggots we go. Vicious Vicar lost a place, I think, there. Well, but they did stop P5, sorry. Ace Claret got a bit unlucky there with that. He avoided it, but he still went off track, I believe. As we head now into Cops we go. All the drivers behind, a bit of damage sorted onto the grass there. I think that was Jennifer Lee onto the grass. As we're heading down the grid order again, someone nearly dropped it there, as I saw ever so slightly. The Williams of Gertmiter. Same with Kevin Gamer. Shining Swarm, sorry, struggling to get traction as well through Cops. Honda VTEC has a front wing end plate missing there, as a Giant Stick's extending his lead with 1.1 seconds. Jennifer Lee chasing down on the soft compounded tyre of Wobbly Lizard. There is the final few corners there. That is a great overtaking spot to send it down the inside. As now we're heading through the second to last corner now with all the drivers. As the Giant Stick has said, you know what, I'm going to pack up my stuff and say see you later. You guys can battle it out on your own. As now everyone else bunching up together as the race relaxes. Ace Drift going to be really annoyed and now determined to catch up to everyone after that 10-second time penalty and being in the air as well. As I think Alfie Edwards went off there. I think he picked up a track limit warning there. As JP, what do you think of that start so far?
Formula One cars in the air. I know this used to be an old airbase back in World War II, but that was a long time ago. Definitely not something I expected to see, as we saw Jenneth going off through Stowe Corner as well. He's lost a couple of positions to Max Scavenger and Vicious Vicar. Max having a great start. A Giant Stick definitely not waiting around for anyone. Already 2 seconds is the gap between himself and Wobbly Lizard. A very chaotic lap 1, as realistically was to be expected.
At the moment, it's, sorry to quick off, it's side by side through Cops as Alfie Edwards has gone off against Doug there. Doug got the inside line and thought, you know what, this is my chance, and they tried to make it 2 ways, but it didn't work, but I didn't see any contact.
There is definitely damage to the front of that Haas car. End plate damage at the very least for Alfie, and you would expect a pit stop now being scheduled for him. But a Giant Stick, he has not got any time to wait around today. 2.1 seconds. Wobbly Lizard, albeit on the mediums, you'd expect some sort of pace difference. But 2.1 seconds in 3 laps, this man is a rocket ship.
Ace Claret has also got front wing damage, missing that end plate, but looking right behind him, it's Slowpoke Gamer looking at the move, puts it in none, recharging the battery, waiting to make the move. As we head into Vale now, the chicane, we're doing it backwards, something we've not done in Formula 7 before, as we head up now to Snow. Got a great exit, Slowpoke Gamer, but Ace Claret managed to get the grip even with that front wing damage, and it's Slowpoke Gamer there, really struggling in the dirty air here. I think the setup change that we might have used for the track is maybe showing dividends, but now heading into Beckett's and Maggots they go. Slowpoke Gamer thought about it but didn't, as Ace Claret slowed down early enough just to stay safe as in the exit they go.
It is very difficult to overtake around this orientation of circuit. You'd think slower corners, better overtaking zones. It's there. Off the track goes Ace Claret, and here's your overtaking opportunity. The Ferrari down the inside as towards Luffield we go. Ace is going to try and fight this back, but that grip on the front end that's going to be lost due to that front wing damage, and Slow P Gamer into 6th place now. Now, if he really wants to make this comeback to the front of the field, where realistically he will believe he should have been, he's got 2.4 seconds to try and gain to that lead fight. Is it possible on the medium tyres?
It is possible, but you've got to absolutely lock in. I don't say that often on streams or anything, but locking in here around this track with all the grip and the throttle with the braking zones, it's going to show dividends. This is a 2.3 second gap, but Max Scavenger maybe going to try and help his teammate Mad Riot, 10-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Remember, it's a downhill pit lane here, so it's going to be a lot speedier, a lot faster to get into the pits. This downhill increases the velocity there, and he's not going to be very happy with that.
Most certainly not. We did talk about it in qualifying. This pit lane can throw issues into the air, and Mad Riot is the first to experience those issues. Max Scavenger still continuing on behind Wobbly Lizard, who is doing a very good job on the medium compound tyres, holding lots of guys on the soft behind him. He's running in second. The gap has now stabilised between himself and a Giant Stick, around 2 seconds. So he's doing a great job. Definitely still in the fight for the win here. He's actually dropped Max Scavenger through the middle sector. Now 1.1 seconds, the gap between them. So Max not going to be getting any DRS. And look right behind him, Vicious Vicar gaining very, very quickly. Just 0.3 of a second behind as we go through Brooklands. Definitely a great opportunity for the Sauber to try and get through at the next available opportunity.
Vicious Vicar going to be carrying Sauber so far this race, as Mad Riot has that 10-second time penalty, which I thought he had served since it disappeared when he went to the pits. As I think someone has just dived into the pits, or is my map? No one has. Sorry, everyone. My map is being a bit special. No, there is. 2 people. Max Scavenger got a 10-second time penalty, and Vicious Vicar dive into the pits. So I think they might be going on the hard tyre or the mediums.
That is absolutely crucial for this race. Max Scavenger, the frustration of the feature race continues. And again, more issues for the Red Bull driver. While his teammate leads by 2 seconds, he comes into the pit lane looking for the undercut. And the 10-second penalty is just going to rip that all away. Vicious Vicar now with a great chance to try and get onto the podium. Geneth currently running in third. Soft compound tyres for him, looking to try and make a bit of inroads on the medium runner of Wobbly Lizard ahead. He's got Slow P Gamer behind him, also on the medium tyres. Ace Claret still running 5th with that damage, doing a very good job to try and bring that car home. Ace Drift right behind him in the McLaren. We've got Doug in 7th, who's under pressure from Gertmeister, and both of them have gone off the track. Gertmeister definitely the one taking more punishment there, very wide on the exit of Copse Corner, and you can see him still struggling to get the power down, even 3/4 of the way down the straight. Many drivers struggling with this layout.
As the track now also changing up a bit, I think the driver's tyres are going to be showing the dividends in a drop-off pace. The soft tyres might be struggling a little bit here.
A Giant Stick definitely is one of the men that thinks those soft tyres have seen their best life, and he now makes his way into the pit lane, as does Slow P Gamer on the medium tyres. So definitely tyre wear, a big talking point around this reverse Silverstone layout. That leaves Wobbly Lizard out in the lead of the reverse British Grand Prix. It's Geneth who runs second, with Ace Claret in third and Ace Drift in 4th place. Now, where will a Giant Stick come out? He's onto the medium tyres. Slow P Gamer out onto the hards.
Sorry about this.
The Giant Stick then makes his way out through Stowe Corner. Max Scavenger just behind Flames, definitely looking to try and make a move early on here. Flames, I don't believe, has pitted yet, and Max Scavenger, look at the overspeed as we go towards Maggots and Beckett's. A very easy move before the braking zone is even a consideration, and Max Scavenger now moves himself up to 10th place. But with that 10-second penalty, he's now just got to try and get the hammer down. This has got to be qualifying laps till the end for the Red Bull and try and maximise the pace of those hard compound tyres. Now, will Wobbly Lizard and Geneth be into the pits at the end of this lap? You would most certainly assume so, but whether that's the case or not, we will find out in about 5 seconds as Wobbly Lizard rounds the final corner, opts to stay out. Geneth on the softs is coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, very cautious there. Even went into neutral to not get anything on the power, to not go above 37 miles per hour or 50 kph there. As Wobbly Lizard rears seems to be really graining there. The rear right really struggling as Ashton gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. And our drivers struggling with the pit lane.
You would most certainly have to assume so. It's not something these drivers are going to be accustomed to. Realistically, you even look at, say, racing in open lobbies. Is anyone really doing Silverstone in reverse? It's definitely a very different layout. It's not something that you usually see. So a lot of learning points in this race. It's almost like the real Australia race just a week ago, you could see throughout the Grand Prix the drivers learning how to take corners, how to use their battery. That's exactly what we're seeing here in F7 tonight. These drivers learning with every corner, every meter, every lap, learning where does the car need to be, where do you use your battery, how do you utilize the tools that you've got with you to try and maximize the pace of your Formula One car. It's definitely not easy, and some are most certainly rising to the occasion better than others.
Obviously, a giant stick of wobbly lizard here. They just have to wait for the top 4 to pit. But look at this, a giant stick is actually gaining rapidly.
Wobbly Lizard stays out for another lap as well. So definitely taking the mediums as far as Pirelli can say they can go, and maybe even a little bit further. 7 laps on the mediums, that's the longest we're going to see as Ace Claret comes into the pit lane. Now Ace Drift stays out as well as Gertmeitzer gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. So definitely a lot of penalties going on. We will quickly check the penalties, and it's 5 drivers with 10-second penalties. Those being Ace Drift, Max Scavenger, Gertmeitzer, Mad Riot and Ashton. People really struggling with the pit lane entry tonight.
Yes, it's going to be a massive one to struggle with. It's obviously the downhill. I think as you enter it, I believe you gain, I think, a mile, maybe 2.5 miles an hour. Obviously, you're going to still be on the throttle. And usually, everyone's used to braking super late for the pit lanes. But this one, no. You have to brake very early because of the steepness of the pit lane.
Wobbly Lizard continues on then. Through Luffield we go. Surely the Aston Martin crew are going to be ready for him in the pit lane this lap. 7 laps on mediums. We already thought that was way too far, as we've got a yellow flag. I can't see any stationary cars, and we quickly resume to green flag racing.
I believe we had 2. I think one of them was on the near Cops, I believe, at Maggots, and I believe the other was on one at just at Stowe, I believe, there.
Wobbly Lizard does finally come into the pit lane then. Wasn't very cautious on the pit lane entry. Definitely maximised the amount of time he could get, and has to, because a giant stick is absolutely flying on those medium tyres. And Ace Drift, another 10-second penalty. He got one for that contact down, I think, turn 2, turn 3 on lap 1. It's now another one for speeding in the pit lane. A giant stick, fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Wobbly Lizard onto the soft compound tyres. Max Scavenger looks like he may just take second place to potentially lead, I say lead, he'll be second in the Red Bull 1-2, but he is out in second place. Vicious Vicar is third. Wobbly Lizard just coming out, and he's wheel to wheel with Slow P Gamer out of the pit lane, but colder tyres for Wobbly Lizard. Definitely not going to be ideal. The DRS opens for the Aston Martin driver, but Slow P Gamer up to 4th now, 1.6 seconds to the car ahead. Is the comeback going to work for Ferrari?
The comeback might be on as Ashton Gamer is now able to make a move, as Wobbly Lizard had to lift off the throttle there as he went onto the curb on the right-hand side. Through Cops we go now, gets onto the curb on the right-hand side as well. Keeps it within that white line, recharging the battery against Slow P Gamer. Is he going to maybe look at the move? No, it's not. He's going to wait it out, save the DRS, maximise these tyres. Bit of contact, argy-bargy between them both. Saying, hello, I'm still here. I'm going to try and come after you as quick as I can as Vicious Vicar up into P3, sorry. Showing what he can do today for Kick Sauber.
Slow P Gamer, the pace does look good on the hard compound tyres. Vicious Vicar looking very quick as well, right behind Max Scavenger. He won't need to overtake him. Obviously the 10-second penalty for Max, but as a competitor, you want to get ahead of him anyway, and that is exactly what the Sauber is looking to do. Slow P Gamer running in 5th. We've got Jenith in 6th as well. We've also got Wobbly Lizard in there on the soft compound tyres, currently running in P4.
Wide. They've gone wide again. Sorry to put in there, but as we saw, Wobbly Lizard did overtake. Slowpoke Gamer went wide, and then they've gone wide on the exit of Vale, on the entry to Vale as well. That's lost them near enough 1.6 seconds. But now, right behind them, Jennifer Lee's managed to get the drag reduction system from them. They're being within that 1 second gap at the detection point. So now, is Slow P Gamer going to have to fight off Jennifer for the next 3.5 laps?
I think the big question of this race now is Wobbly Lizard. What can he do on those fresh soft compound tyres? He's already gaining massively up towards Vicious Vicar and Max Scavenger, as you can see them battling away into Luffield. Big lock up there for Max Scavenger, but the soft compound tyres just so much quicker at this point of the race. Vicious Vicar now diving up the inside of Max Scavenger, and now look who joins the party. Wobbly Lizard gaining massive amounts of time. Is there maybe a world in which Wobbly Lizard can get through and then start the charge on a giant stick?
I'm not sure, but this is why we put the PlayStation parties on private and closed. Invite only is what I say. There's Vicious Vicar and Wobbly Lizard going at it. There's Wobbly Lizard overtakes Vicious Vicar, and is now going to be chasing down Max Scavenger. There's again Jennifer Lee on the gearbox of Slow P Gamer, not giving them a break. The ERS recovery that Slowpoke Gamer is having to do at the moment is massive, but they've got onto the grass. The rear left onto the grass, and we've got a yellow flag, and that is Kevin Gamer, who's had a bit of an off there. As we go back to the top, as Wobbly Lizard's gotten past Max there, who's now up into P2.
So the charge now begins. 9.1 seconds is the gap between Wobbly Lizard and a giant stick. Fresh soft compound tyres for Wobbly Lizard. 5 lap hold mediums for a giant stick. He's got 2 laps to try and do it. 4.5 seconds a lap he has got to gain just to rock up to the back of him. But overtaking and gaining are 2 very different things in Formula 1. And if there's anyone that you've got to gain on that you wouldn't want to, it's a giant stick. Absolutely rapid, making no mistakes whatsoever. He's surely going to be very hard to try and gain on.
Yes, a giant stick, it's gone his way today. Absolutely insane pace today. A giant stick domination made for fans, is what I'm thinking. But is now Wobbly Lizard. He might have a maybe chance if a giant stick's tyres drop off and he starts to make a few mistakes, but it doesn't seem likely as we now head on to the penultimate lap of lap 12 of 13.
The gap is coming down.
It's a battle, sorry to cut you off there, it's a battle between Max Scavenger and Vicious Vicar. Vicious Vicar went off, trying to go round the outside of Max Scavenger there, and went off track, but managed to save it. It's right behind him now is Slow P Gamer, and Jennifer Lee's joining the party. As this is now warming up a bit at the back for the battle for P3.
12 laps into this race, the drivers now starting to understand where they need to put the car, where they need to use the battery. It's exactly what I was alluding to. The final couple of laps of this race will be the most important. Max Scavenger, Vicious Vicar, Slow P Gamer and Jenneth all battling away, and this is the battle for the final podium position. Incredible stuff between 4 different constructors, 4 different drivers. Who is going to have the pace as we move our way very closely to the final lap of this race?
As now heading on, as Kevin gets the 10-second time ready for corner cutting. I think he's had another bit of an off there. I think it was through Vale, as he's now fighting against Flames at the back. So them two in a little war of their own. Whilst we now head on to the final lap of the reverse Silverstone Grand Prix. As Wobbly Lizard doesn't seem to be catching Vicious Vicar onto the gearbox of Max Scavenger, as we now head through the final corner onto the graining on the right side of a giant stick's tyres, and now we go into the left again. It's a massive left turn, into the left, into the right, flick the wheel as much as you can, get the rotation down. As now we have a quick look back as a Vicious Vicar, Slowpoke Gamer and Jennifer Lee all still trailing one another. It's a 4-way battle for P3 at the moment. The podium spot is delected by one of them all so far. Kevin Gamer picks up a 3-second time penalty, but at the moment it seems to be going the way of a giant stick. He's had no issues so far or throughout the entire Grand Prix against anyone. He's in a world of his own. Whilst Wobbly Lizard 8 seconds behind, but 2 seconds ahead of Max Scavenger, who's in P2. Max Scavenger. Vicious Vicar and Slow P Gamer having a little tussle here at the back through Maggots and Beckett's actually. Trying to make the move stick as into Cops to go now, but this fighting might make Vicious Vicar lose out to Max Scavenger. Is looking right behind. Is Slow P Gamer going to struggle? Yes, Slow P Gamer's onto the grass. It's Jennifer Lee. That's going to give Jennifer Lee the potential chance here to maybe send it down the inside. As Jennifer Lee's nearly dropped. Jennifer Lee's into the wall! Onto the gravel, sorry. As Jennifer Lee manages to save the car. from near enough dropping it. The slight angle there with the DRS wide open made them lose the rear end. As when you have DRS wide open, the rear end becomes really loose and not stable enough. As now heading through the final few corners we go through now, a giant stick. It's been his to play for today. It's been his for the qualifying as well. And he wins the British Grand Prix in reverse. Next across the line is Wobbly Lizard, but still to go. They're still battling behind. As across the line he goes. P2 is Wobbly Lizard. P3 on track is Max, but drops eventually down to, I believe, P7 there. As Vicious Vicar takes P3, Slow P Gamer takes P4, P5, Jennifer Lee, Max finishes at P6, Nimblecat P6, sorry. Max P7, P8 is Ace Claret Mad Riot, P10, P9, 10 is Doug, Alfie Edwards, P11, P12, Gert Meister, Ace Drift finishes P13 on track, Real Ashton Army P14, P15, Shining Swarm, but goes up to P12 eventually as Flames crosses the line to go P16. Kevin will finish, I believe, P17 on track as there goes Flames now cross the line, and here comes Kevin, and Kevin takes the line with a 10-second time on it. Yes, Honda VTEC slowly but surely crossing the finishing line now to take P18. He's maybe trying to catch up to Kevin's time. Is he going to be able to, within that 30-second time? But if Kevin, yes, he is, and he takes P17.
What an incredible event we have just witnessed, ladies and gentlemen, and a giant stick absolutely dominating around the reverse orientation of Silverstone. Incredible battling everywhere you looked, and that is exactly what F7 provides you week in, week out. A massive props to all of these Tier 4 drivers for putting on an absolute show.
Unbelievable stuff, as the race results are. A giant stick in P1, P2 Wobbly Lizard, P3 Vicious Vicar, P4 Slow P Gamer, Jennifer Lee, P5, P6 is Nimblecat, P7 is Max Scavenger, P8 Ace Claret, P9 Mad Riot, P10 Doug L12222, Alfie Edwards, P11, P12 Shining Swarm started where he finished, P13 is Gert Meister, P14 is Ace Drift after a dodgy start and going in the air. He takes it to P14. P15 is Real Ashton Army, who started P11. P16 from starting P18 is Flames. Honda VTEC P17 started and finished where he was. And Kevin Gamer loses out 4 places, P18.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. My name's been Jack. Alongside me has been Yawn. What a pleasure to commentate such an event like that. Yawn, can you tell me, when will F7 be back?
F7 will be back later tonight at 7 p.m. UK time. Be sure to join us with F7R Nathan, who's going to be taking us through Tier 1, the best of the best, what we have to offer. And there's a spicy championship going down there. Be sure to tune in later tonight.
Thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. We will see you later tonight with Tier 1 action. But again, from myself and Yawn, thank you very much for watching. And wherever you are in the world, take care.